For decades, the US dollar has dominated global trade, oil markets, and international banking, giving America massive economic power. But now, a serious challenge is emerging. The BRICS nations are expanding, trading in new currencies, buying record amounts of gold, and building financial systems outside Western control. Some experts believe this could reshape the global economy forever. So, is the dollar truly under threat, or is this just another political headline? Well, let's find out, as today we're diving deep into the growing battle between the US dollar and BRICS, the dollar's global empire. To understand why this story matters, we first need to understand the incredible power of the US dollar. After World War II, America became the world's strongest economy, with massive industries, huge gold reserves, and growing global influence. Over time, the dollar became the world's main reserve currency. Countries stored dollars in their central banks. Businesses used it for international trade, and important resources like oil and gold were priced in US currency. This gave the United States huge advantages. America could borrow money more easily. Its banking system became the center of global finance, and Washington gained powerful economic tools like sanctions. If a country challenged Western interests, access to dollar-based systems could be restricted, freezing assets and damaging economies. After Russia's reserves were frozen in 2022, many nations became concerned. Governments began asking an important question. If another country controls the financial system, is anyone's money truly safe? That question helped fuel the rise of a new movement called De-Dollarization. What is De-Dollarization? De-Dollarization simply means reducing dependence on the US dollar. Instead of using dollars for trade, countries use their own currencies. Instead of relying on Western banking systems, they create alternative networks. And this is exactly what BRICS has been trying to do. BRICS originally stood for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But the group has expanded rapidly in recent years. New members and partners now include powerful energy producers and fast-growing economies from the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Together, BRICS nations represent a massive share of the global population, natural resources, manufacturing, and energy production. And they have one common goal: to create a financial system that is less dependent on the United States. Why BRICS wants change? Different BRICS countries have different reasons for challenging the dollar. Russia wants protection from Western sanctions. China wants greater global influence for its currency, the yuan. India wants more independent trade systems. Oil-producing nations want more flexibility in how they sell energy. And many developing countries simply want alternatives to systems dominated by Western powers. For years, many nations felt they had little choice but to follow the dollar-based system. Now BRICS believes the global balance of power is shifting. China's rise has changed world trade. India's economy is growing rapidly. Middle Eastern countries are becoming more influential. African nations are gaining importance because of natural resources and young populations. BRICS leaders argue that the global financial system should reflect this new reality. That's why they are building their own financial infrastructure. Weapon 1. Local currency trade. One of BRICS' biggest strategies is simple but powerful. Trade without using the dollar. For decades, if two countries traded oil, machinery, or food, the transaction usually involved US dollars, even if America wasn't directly involved. Now that's slowly changing. China and Russia increased trade using yuan and rubles. India has explored buying oil using rupees. Brazil and China signed agreements allowing trade in local currencies. Even some Middle Eastern energy deals are now being discussed outside the dollar system. This may sound small, but it matters a lot. Every time countries avoid the dollar, global demand for US currency weakens slightly. And if enough countries do this over time, America's financial dominance could slowly shrink. Still, experts say replacing the dollar completely would be extremely difficult. The US financial system remains trusted, stable, and deeply connected to global markets. Many investors still see the dollar as the safest place during economic uncertainty. So, while BRICS is making progress, the dollar remains incredibly powerful. Weapon 2. Gold. Another major piece of the BRICS strategy is gold. In recent years, central banks around the world have been buying gold at record levels. Why? Because gold is seen as safe, independent, and politically neutral. Unlike currencies, gold cannot be frozen by foreign governments in the same way bank accounts can. Countries like China and Russia have massively increased their gold reserves. Other nations are doing the same. This is important because gold has historically played a major role during periods of financial uncertainty. Whenever trust in paper currencies weakens, investors often rush toward gold. Some analysts believe BRICS nations could eventually support future trade systems or digital currencies with gold reserves. That possibility worries some Western economists because it could reduce global dependence on the dollar. Weapon 3. New financial systems. BRICS is not just talking about change. It is building alternatives. One example is the New Development Bank. Created by BRICS nations, this bank aims to finance infrastructure and development projects without depending heavily on Western-controlled institutions like the IMF or World Bank. BRICS countries are also working on payment systems that could bypass SWIFT, the international messaging network used by banks worldwide. Why does this matter? Because SWIFT has become a powerful geopolitical tool. Countries disconnected from it face major economic difficulties. By building alternative systems, BRICS nations hope to protect themselves from future sanctions and gain more financial independence. Some experts even believe BRICS could eventually create a shared digital payment network connecting member nations directly. If successful, this could reshape how global trade works. The energy factor. Energy is one of the biggest reasons BRICS has gained attention. Several BRICS nations are major oil and gas producers. With newer members from the Middle East joining the group, BRICS now controls a significant share of global energy supplies. And energy is deeply connected to the dollar. For decades, much of the world's oil trade happened in US currency. This created enormous global demand for dollars. But if major energy exporters begin accepting more yuan, rupees, or other currencies, the system could slowly evolve. This doesn't mean the dollar disappears overnight, but it could mean a future where multiple currencies compete for global influence instead of one dominant king. What this means for ordinary people. Now you may be wondering, how does this affect regular people? The answer is, potentially in many ways. If the dollar weakens globally, imports in the United States could become more expensive. That might increase inflation. Interest rates could also be affected because America benefits greatly from global demand for its currency. Meanwhile, countries inside BRICS may gain more control over their own trade systems and financial policies. Global businesses could face more complicated trade networks with multiple major currencies instead of one dominant standard. Investors may also move more money into gold, commodities, and emerging markets if they believe global financial power is shifting. At the same time, a more divided financial world could create instability and uncertainty. Instead of one global system, we may see competing economic blocs forming around different powers. Can BRICS really defeat the dollar? This is the biggest question of all. Right now, the dollar is still far ahead. The US economy remains one of the largest and most trusted in the world. American financial markets are deep and stable. Global investors still buy US Treasury bonds during crises, and many BRICS nations face their own problems. Some have political tensions with each other. Others have unstable currencies, inflation challenges, or weaker financial systems. China's yuan, for example, is growing globally, but it still faces restrictions and lacks the same level of international trust as the dollar. So most experts believe the dollar will remain dominant for many years. But they also agree on something important. The world is becoming more multipolar. That means financial power is spreading across multiple regions instead of staying concentrated in one place. And BRICS is accelerating that shift. The battle between the dollar and BRICS is a fight for global influence, trade, and financial power. For decades, the US dollar ruled the world economy, but BRICS nations are now building alternatives through gold, local currencies, and new trade systems. The dollar is still extremely powerful, but the world may be slowly moving toward a more balanced financial order. So, what do you think? Can BRICS truly challenge the dollar? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos like this. See you in the next one.